What the business, YouTube? This video is strictly educational and informative, as all my videos are. Perform at your own risks. With that being said, episode 68. My name's Jay Florida, and today's career of discussion is a professional gambler. So, what is a professional gambler? A professional gambler is a person who professionally plays in the sport of gambling, which is to risk money or something of value on an uncertain event with the primary goal of winning additional money or a desired outcome. Now, to give you a piece of history, the game of dice is believed to be the first known gambling game enjoyed by humans. In Egypt, as far back as 3000 BC, people played a dice game called Senet. And the oldest die ever found actually dates back to 2800 to 2500 BC, circa. Now, the only basic requirements to becoming a professional gambler are a better understanding of how whichever game is played and a minimum age requirement of 21 years or older, meaning some of you are too young to drink and gamble, but old enough to get blown up by IEDs and drones. Now, kickstarting your professional gambling career should only cost you just about $100 or less. And you can start as soon as today, right now. As far as your range as an entry-level professional gambler, you can actually suffer net losses or profits of $50,000 or more, with a few things affecting how much you take home being your method of gambling, such as sports betting, casino, or dice games, your experience, odds, and your willingness to gamble. As far as opportunity, anyone can kickstart their professional gambling career with only just a few bucks, and for that reason, the professional gambler scores green. Moving on, a few examples to take note of in this field include Fort Manning, a popular professional sports bettor with a following of over 200,000 followers on Instagram. Next, we have Mickey Mace, a professional gambler with a following of over 900,000 followers on Instagram. And last but not least, we have Vincent Gonzalez, a popular professional gambler who shares videos of his gambling endeavors via Instagram. And if you guys want to see more of this content and better, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, send the hype, the whole business. Now, moving on to our fact moment segment of this episode, starting off with fact number 1. About gambling, Albert Einstein supposedly once said, "No one can win at roulette unless he steals money from the table while the croupier isn't looking." Fact number 2. The biggest casino win in the U.S. was $39.7 million at Excalibur Casino, Las Vegas in 2003. And fact number 3. The single biggest documented loss in sports betting history is widely attributed to Jim McIngvale, who lost roughly $15.4 million in early 2022, later offset by a $75 million win. And for our last segment, before we move on to the circle of influence, we have health risks and mitigation. Starting off with mental health issues such as depression as a result of suffering financial losses, substance abuse as a result of exposure to alcohol and drugs, as well as suffering financial losses, and violence from debtors as a result of owing money and suffering financial losses. As far as mitigation, you should utilize peer support groups for mental health and drug issues, set maximum limits on gambling, clear all of your debts, and regular health screenings to monitor long-term health conditions. Now that does it for our primary segment. I'm going to go ahead and give the floor to my co-host for the Circle of Influence. What the business, YouTube? Starting off the Circle of Influence, we have respect. Is this a career or position that brings me respect and dignity? Now, as a professional gambler, if you're doing really well in your field, it doesn't come without accusations of cheating or the stipulation that you could lose it all the very next day, as it isn't a stable, reliable career path. However, if you're doing very poorly in your field, especially if you have a family, you're perpetually putting yourself and your family at risk. For that reason, the professional gambler scores yellow. Moving on, we have growth. Is this a career or a position that presents me with the opportunity to grow from a $100,000 earning threshold? For this segment, the professional gambler scores green, with sources online citing that the professional gambler has the potential to make as much as $500,000, going well into the millions in a single year. Next, we have gore. Is this a career or a position that will have me dealing with an abundance of blood, violent action, grotesque imagery, or scenery? And for this segment, the professional gambler scores green, as in no, you should not be dealing with any of the mentioned before. And for our last ideological standpoint, we have moral conflict. Is this a career or a position that will have me compromise any of my foreseeable morals or make decisions that will weigh heavy on me later on? Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, don't kill. The basic set of guidelines. And for this segment, the professional gambler also scores green. Now, if you disagree with this last segment, leave a comment down below explaining why. Moving on to the statistical side of things, we have gender demographics, where men make up about 95% of the industry and women make up about 5% of the industry. Though some sources claim the split is 85% men and 15% women. Moving on, we have ethnic demographics, where Caucasians account for 73% of the industry, African Americans account for 9% of the industry, and Hispanics account for 8% of the entire industry. And for our last segment, we have location demographics. And since this is a career that you could play in any state, it's a luck-based game. Instead, we have most popular games, starting with blackjack, followed by roulette and sports betting, and closing things out with slot machines and poker. Now that does it for the Circle of Influence. I'm going to go ahead and give the floor back to Florida. I'm back. Just to summarize the professional gambler, if you're feeling lucky, you can try your hand at this profession. You do have the potential to earn as much as $500,000 in a single year, but I would add that chasing wins in this profession can be so addictive that you don't realize that you've lost $2.5 million just to make $500,000. And while it is very inexpensive to kickstart your professional gambling career, you'll soon find out how expensive it is to keep up. Now, with that being said, it does look like we have a full episode here today. The word of the day is feminine. Self-help resources on the board. As always, I'll leave it down in the description. And again, to show your support, if you want to see more of this content and better, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, send a hype, the whole business. And I'll see you guys on episode 69. Let it ride!